Good morning, good morning. Welcome to our Talks to Anthony. Today we're going to have a insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversation content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being, right? Today's conversation, we'll be talking about boundaries, reveal who respects you, right? So if setting boundaries changes how someone treats you, right, that's not the problem. The problem, that's clarity, right? So someone really is out here treating you regardless of how they want to treat you. When you were able to set the boundary, you told them, the do's and the don'ts. You told them the way that you would want to address that individual issue, right? And they just want to do what they want to do, right? So you have to allow yourself to not be in denial, not run away from the reality of what's going on, right? People are showing you who they truly are, and you need to be able to really be intuitive and have that self-awareness of what's really going on, right? So you're not the problem. You really got to understand, right? This is the person they're revealing how they respect you and how they not respect you, right? So I really want us to take that in consideration. But in regards to normalizing and kind of drawing some attention to this, I really want us to take in consideration in regards to some key points, right? So many people fear boundaries will push other people's away, so they just run away. They don't want to do it, right? Always trying to be the people's pleaser, always trying to be the mediator, always trying to just hold things down and allow these problems just keep going through, right? You're not a rug. You don't deserve someone to sit there and treat you any type of way, right? And dog you out and have you talk the flow up when you mentioned or you just don't like these behaviors, right? So we got to be able to take this in consideration, right? We're often taught that prioritizing being liked over respected is the thing that we should be doing, right? We've got to be having friends, or we don't want to be lonely, or et cetera, right? Feeling guilt and anxious when setting these limitations is common, right? So we get irritable, these are uncomfortable feelings, but we gotta take in consideration, you're not a loser, you're not a failure, you're not a bum, right? But you gotta take that in consideration that if you don't address something, how does someone, closed mouths don't get fed. How is someone going to know how to treat you, right? We also got to realize too, when it comes to culture, we have our differences, right? So we have to teach people how to treat us, right? Not everybody's going to know how to treat you, or people can read your mind, right? But I'm going to be real with you, we should know how to treat people, right? When it comes to these behaviors, right? The manipulation, the taking something from somebody, right? Not giving it back, right? You have to peep these things, right? You got to really be intuitive, really what's going on, right? And if you see something, you got to advocate for yourself. You got to speak up, right? So when it comes to some psychoeducation, to keep us grounded, I really want us to take in consideration that boundaries are a form of communication, not rejection. Like I said, we have to speak up, right? Healthy friendships adjust. So you can have people that's going to respect your boundaries, they're going to adjust, and they're going to make the proper and effective communication and things that they need to do to be able to maintain that relationship if that's what they want. However, unhealthy ones resist, right? So you're gonna have that pushback. You're gonna have people trying to contest you. You feel me? So I really want us to take that in consideration, because although it is discomfort to be able to set these boundaries, and we may have mixed emotions in our feelings, we got to take in consideration, like I said, not everybody's gonna know how to treat us, and not everybody's gonna know what's going on with you in your mind, because you're not speaking. So you need to be able to communicate that effectively, right? Be respectful about it, right? Because if you just talking to someone disrespectfully, you think they're gonna be able to hear you? It's going in one ear and it's going out the other. So I really want to take that in consideration, right? So discomfort from others often reflects loss of access, not your wrongdoing, right? So other people may just flinger off, and they may just go their own way because they feel some type of way when you're addressing something. That's totally fine. Like I said, this is revealing who you're really dealing with, right? We all want to be able to have friends, but we also need to have friends that's going to understand our boundaries, respect us, and help us rise and improve our ways, right? Rather than having us resist and having us tort from the floor up and having consistent arguing and just, what's going on here, right? We need to be around people that's going to have a healthy way, right? And an effective way of respecting our boundaries, right? And like I said, people reveal who they truly are, right? So you got to really know how you're going to adjust, how you're going to move for yourself, right? And your well-being. When it comes to some practical frames, like I said, how can we set boundaries differently? How can we really, get at this, right? So focus on clarity, not control, right? You ain't control nobody besides yourself. Don't get it twisted, right? And that's what I'm saying. If this person's not going to be able to respect your boundaries, you have to be able to do things that's going to be beneficial to your mental health. You got to block this person. You don't associate with this person. You know what I mean? So you're able to maintain your peace of mind. That's what you must have to do for yourself, because like I said, you want to be able to focus on your clarity, because you want to have that well-being for yourself, right? You're responsible for your limits. I'll say it again. You're responsible for your limits, right? Not others, not other people's reactions, right? We can't control how other people are going to respond when we tell them to stop doing something, right? They may listen to us, they may not, but you got to control what you can control, right? Consistency matters more than perfection, right? So it's not about, like I said, perfect moment, perfect this, perfect that, right? Just as long as you're trying to improve your ways, just trying to stand on business, trying to have that respect, you got to be consistent, right? You can't tell somebody stop one day and then you break a couple days later, right? You need to be consistent. You said no, I said no, I said no. And no is a full sentence, right? You don't got to over-explain yourself. You're putting yourself in a weaker stance, right? No is enough. I'm all set. Thank you. You know what I mean? So I really want us to take in consideration, because boundaries are not, making people behave, right? You can't, like I said, you can't control other people, but there's about deciding what will you accept and what will you not accept, right? Like I said, the do's and don'ts. Everybody's gonna be different, right? But you gotta advocate for yourself, because no one can read your mind, right? There's no mind reading what's going on when it comes to human beings, right? We have some micro action. What can we take immediately, right? Like I said, this is something that we got to do with critical thinking, right? We got to think before we respond, right? We got to be able to think there's a time and a place to be able to set the boundaries, right? You know what I mean? We got to be able to make sure that we're regulated, we're calm, right? We have that, we're communicating effectively, where it's respectful, right? But we got to be able to identify one area where you feel resentment or tension, like where is this coming from, right? Because like I said, this stress can add up and it can make us feel some type of way, right? And I don't want you popping off, but like I said, we got to be able to have that self-awareness to know what's going on with us, and like having that intuition what's going on with us as well, right? So ask yourself, what limit have I not expressed here in this situation, whatever it's going on, whatever this individual, right? So communicate one small and clear boundary, right? I'll be transparent with you, right? So let's think about a boundary that I set up recently with somebody. We all have some, let's just say for family, right? Back in the days, right? You may live with your family, right? For instance, and you may say to them, please don't touch anything that I purchased, whatever I got from the grocery store. I got like some takeout, whatever, right? Perfect example. You put it in the refrigerator, right? Someone perhaps you may go around the house and tell everybody specifically don't touch it. They may listen to you and say, and it may not be touched, right? So you're good, you got your boundaries, they respect it. However, you may have someone else that says, whatever, I'm gonna do what I wanna do, right? And they eat it, right? Like a perfect example. Very disrespectful situation, because they didn't pay for it. They clearly crossed the boundary, right? However, like I said, this is a perfect example that we got to keep ourselves calm, because we can't control other people and what they do, right? So there's different ways we're able to go about the situation and how we're able to address it, right? But like I said, this is a perfect example because it reveals the person for who they are, right? This person doesn't respect me. I don't know what the issue is with them. However, I can see right now, like I just, you know what I mean? I have to disassociate, right? We can forgive, you know what I mean? Don't kind of keep this resentment where you're taught from the floor up, you're keeping, you know what I mean? But at the same time too, know how to move accordingly, right? Keep that self-respect for yourself, keep that love for yourself, and keep it moving, right? You don't got to keep associating with this individual and going back and forth, right? Keep your energy for yourself. But I really want us to have a good sense of well-being. I really want us to be reflective. I really want us to be intuitive what's really going on, self-awareness. I really want us to really know what's going on with the people that we're engaging with, right? Who are we surrounding ourselves around, right? Does this person respect me when I say no, when I say stop, when I say no, I don't got it, right? Like what's really going on, right? So people's reactions to your boundaries are data, right? It's not directives. Like I said, we can't control these individuals, but we got to review the data. Who are we hanging around, right? The right people don't need fewer boundaries. They need to respond with them well. Like I said, we got to be able to advocate for ourselves, right? But if you feel like this video is beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share if possible, and I'll see you on the next one.